So Joshua, if I start from the year of 2015, as we were talking about, if I looked at my polish stock at any given point in time, it was 98% rounds and 2% fancies. And with realizing that, with so much competition in round and, typically with so many being around, a manufacturer like me, if I have to bring in some kind of value addition to my production and to what my brand is, we needed to head towards a more an approach towards the fancy shapes. And that's what we started doing. And we started exploring the fancy shapes slowly and steadily, trying to understand. And with the help of what exactly Avi was talking about, how technology has done a brilliant job for us in terms of not just in the sector of in the sector of manufacturing, but every process of manufacturing, from all the way from procurement to planning to manufacturing, all the way to selling. Technology does a lot for us. And today, if you're looking at, as you said, we're sitting at 60% fancy shapes and 40% rounds in 2022. There are two actual factors. It's obviously internal that, over a period of time, with the help of technology, we've been able to do a lot with exploring the different ways that we can cut the diamonds in the best possible fashion to get the best light refraction and light performance for the stones. It is from the pricing perspective, we can pull the same kind of price globally. So it's not a country specific pricing that we look at. Moreover, the fact that, I saw a lot of, these Chinese market really trying to adapt to understanding fancy shapes. And I could see the movements of some emeralds and heart shapes and the pears and cushions in that market. But unfortunately, because of this lockdown that came along and, and the prolonged situation that they're in, so I felt the market which was going upscale in terms of consumption, has now come to a stability. But the best part and the most unique thing that I saw in this year and the last 2 years was actually India consuming larger fancy shapes, which was not something which we were expecting, but it did. And and in fact, what we've been doing is we're making a lot of large stone fancy shapes, like typically 5 carat, 7 carat, 10 carat emeralds, pear shapes, ovals. And these stones are typically getting sold in India because we're grading them with IGI as well. So, we're finding that movement in India, and somehow the market share that we had with China and other European countries and other places where it was moving, all of a sudden India has just pumped up and created some more market share for themselves. We've been grading fancy shaped stones internally for a very long time. And we have our own lab in our own factory trying to come up with our own cut grades. But exactly like how John was saying, rounds have a specific proportions. And, when you see light performance and light return performance, you exactly know how to figure that out. But when in fancy shapes, because what's happening is that these manufacturers with the help of technology are, changing the faceting as well as the parameters in such a high scale to get the best performance. It's difficult to define and say that, hey, this is the standard parameter for a specific shape. So that's why it's getting complex for grading stones when it comes to fancy shapes. Now, with regards to how we do it internally is we typically have a fixed, obviously I've got fixed parameters, but then we've got our internal technology which helps with softwares. We've got softwares which are inbuilt with our internal manufacturing ERP systems, where while even planning, we look into the light performance of a stone basis of not just light performance of the stone basis of a lot of things as well. So once we do that, and while during the manufacturing process, we keep matching that with our light performance. And, and there's a lot of factors to our light performance that we consider. We look at brilliancy, we look at fire, we look at scintillation, we look at optical symmetry, and all the bases having different percentages. We have inbuilt the whole data into our system, which helps us understand what percentage will create an excellent cut in our system. But that being very specific to ours. today, even like today, like a lab with IGI was going to be coming into place for them to go specific with terms of how the grading has to be for a specific shape is going to be a big task, because light performance, what an IGI would consider as a standard, what an AGS will consider as a standard, or a GCal will consider as a standard, is quite different. So till the time we all as an industry come through an standardization of proportions, and then as obviously John was talking about, creating a 3D model to understand the study of the whole light performance going in and how much of refraction comes in from the crown, which you see it visually, is something which we need to all come together and make it happen, because it's the need of the hour. Because right now, fancy shape is no more a niche market, and it's become mainstream. What we've been seeing and understanding from different retailers and how the consuming has been done, fancy shapes. It's typically see, in the larger stone fancy shapes of business that we're in the engagement ring business, customers typically are, when you buy an engagement ring, it's typically or a solitaire for yourself, you typically want to buy it either a decision for yourself, or you're buying an engagement ring to get for your girlfriend or your wife or somebody else for that reason. And because the value of a diamond, which is a very high investment, you typically want to be careful of what you invest in, because you're gonna buy something and you're gonna make someone wear something, and you don't want to be in a situation that the person doesn't like it. It's something that you want to wear each and every day. So for those reasons, you always have either the girlfriend give a small hint, like, listen, I like these shapes, or this shape is my favorite, or something like that, or they just be a part of the decision making. So so that these are the aspects that I see. But typically nowadays, like how John was talking about how Gen Z and how millennials are very involved in the fancy stone consumptions, they typically are very clear about exactly what they want, and that they do the right research. They know exactly what they want. They're very clear about their focuses in life, which is because they want to not be the regular round shape one stone in their finger and walk around. They want to make sure that they have a statement ring. They want to be unique. They want to stand out from everybody else. And for those aspects of creating individuality, they are very clear about what they want, and they go to the store. Yes, there are a bunch of consumers who land up going to get it in the store, probably looking to get an emerald, but probably may get something like an elongated gradient instead. In those factors, they may be a chunk of it, but today's audience is very, very clear about what they want, thanks to a lot to with the celebrities also, because they are actually ones who are influencing everybody, and that you could see in every other celebrity's engagement ring. Each stone, each engagement ring in the past 6, whether it's Cardi B, Megan Fox, Beyonce, Hailey Bieber, everybody has a different stone altogether and a different shape. And they're all fancies. They're none of them are around in the last. So for those reasons, I feel decision-making gets a little turned around by even the jeweler, but that's more like on the lines of, in this budget, you could rather get this stone, but not typically the shape is very clear in their head. Standardization of how we can get cuts to come to that. It will take us time to get everyone on board and saying like, hey, this is the standard of excellent cut for a cushion and an elongated cushion and a cushion modified to regular cushion to a cushion brilliant. There'll be different faceting and different cuts, and then further different performances in terms of light luster. So, I'm happy with what IGI is trying to do, is because they're bringing in cut in a quicker and a faster way, and they're more ready to listen and hear our perspective because of the quickness in the movement of how we've been cutting our diamonds. But to get that reach there as a standardization where this is going to be excellent cut and further everyone's going to be able to make it, all of them, that's a very far-fetched time. I mean, I hope that happens because we want to make good stones in the end of the day, but it's something which I feel would happen. And all roughs are not different. Not all stones need to be excellent in fancy shapes. Even the VGs and the goods will also look good because